Hey, what's up? My name is Songrider with Bad UR Productions, and I am here today with another class build. Today it's more of a update to my previous build, as there was an update since I've last made a build video, and I've also got some more knowledge recently about the skill Timeless Echoes of Battle, which actually is a bit better than I thought it was originally, so we're going to talk about that bit as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my traits here. Again, this is a red-yellow hybrid. Later I will be doing a yellow-red hybrid, which is quite interesting as well. It's nice buffs and still does some pretty good damage, but today we're focusing on the red-yellow. So, as usual, we have the Concussive Shout, Critical Strikes, Call of a Roam, Improved Call of a Roam, just the basic stuff in here. Discordant Cries, Emboldening Finish, Echoing Anthem of the War, get that improved Coda of Fury, Cry of the Wizards, and Cry of the Valor. Now I did add some stuff. I maxed out the morale here, get an extra bit of health in there. I upped Ballad and Coda damage as well as Ballad critical chance, since we're doing a yellow hybrid, which means those crit ballads will be making Piercing Cry available again right off the bat. So we want to get as many crits as possible on our ballads. Now, some stuff that I didn't have before on my red-yellow build is I added the, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because I will fail, this Timeless Echoes of Battle trait in red line, and the Echoes trait as well. Before I said I don't usually run this one because it breaks CC, which is true, it does break crowd control, but it does add another dot that you can add to the amount of bleed damage you're going to be doing, not bleed, but damage over time, that you're going to be doing as a Minstrel, which is interesting that Minstrels have some decent damage over time. Nothing like a Warden, not even close. But this combined with your Timeless Echoes will do a good little bit of bleed damage to add in. Now, if you're wanting to be spamming crowd control using your Fear and your Piercing Cry, do not trait Echoes, because this will make it nearly impossible to crowd control somebody with a Fear. Because just about any one of your Cry hits, which is pretty much most of your DPS, has a chance to put a dot on the target, and that will immediately just chop that Fear into pieces. So if you're going to be using the Fear a lot, don't trait this. In yellow line, I went for a bunch of Anthem cooldown and Anthem duration. Made sure to get my Anthem of Composure for power restore. I got that tactical mastery. And with my current build, I don't really need any tactical mitigation, so I went ahead and skipped the extra 5% tactical mitigation. And then I traded a bunch of the Weakening Echoes of Battle, which in my previous build I did not do as well. I also added Exposing Weakness for that critical defense debuff on Echoes of Battle to just make it as nasty as possible. And then of course I have Sharing a Story, which resets Piercing Cry off the Ballad. I've noticed that this shield does not really seem to do a whole lot. It helps a little bit, but not that much, so I didn't even trait that. I went for the extra morale over here instead. I figured that would give me more survivability than this Piercing Cry does. So, what this does is this makes Echoes of Battle, because these do stack. First time when I made this video originally, I did not realize that these stack together, because I believe that would only affect the single sword version of Echoes of Battle, but it does stack, which is quite nice. Which gives it a good 90% damage boost. It adds extra debuff to the resistance thing, and it also will add a critical defense debuff if you add this one in as well, which makes it overall quite nasty. If we take a look at the tooltip, completely unbuffed, they get a 2k resist debuff, a dot that does around 1,000 damage every 5 seconds, and a big 1k crit defense debuff on your target until you take it off pretty much or switch targets with it, which is actually pretty nasty. The bleed isn't as bad as it could be, but when you get it buffed up a bunch, it can be doing, depending on if it actually hits for what the tooltip says, which it doesn't usually, but it can be doing around 1.5k damage, depending on your build, of course, with like tactical mastery and whatnot. The tooltip will go up to like 2k, but it doesn't usually tick that high. It usually ticks about 400 less than the tooltip, sometimes even lower, depending on how many buffs you have up. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into an area where I can find some mobs. Obviously this is not a good spot to fight mobs. So I can show you the damage boost from this Timeless Echoes of Battle. Alright, I've gone ahead and launched a Warg Pins instance. I'm gonna go ahead and make my way to the final boss in this instance. Remember that Warg beam? It's kind of weird. But I'm gonna make my way to the first boss, I should say, in this instance. And I'll go ahead and add this debuff to him so you can see what it can do. Here I'm gonna go ahead and buff up my abilities and kill the wargs because they actually do some decent damage. Okay, that warg doesn't seem to care. Okay, so we have all these ballad boosts up, Anthem of War up, put that up, and it's ticking about, let's see what it's ticking at. My ballad buffs disappeared. It's ticking about almost 1,000. The tooltip is saying about 1,700. So the tooltip, it does tick a good bit less than the tooltip, but it also is adding a big debuff on their critical defense and whatnot. And considering as a minstrel, a lot of your attacks do a crap ton of extra damage on crits, especially Call to Fate, which is a massive crit damage. It's really nice to have that extra chance to do some more critical damage. I didn't even crit on that. Never crit. Piercing Cry seems to crit twice as much as any other skill. I don't know why. So we'll go ahead and get to that boss and we'll hit him with this effect here. Okay, I'm here at the boss. I went ahead and drank some coffee, which added to the run speed bonus with the new armor set. Will give me a good 20% extra run speed duration. So I should be able to kite him fairly effectively and not take a whole lot of damage. I'm going to go ahead and go in using an improved Cry of the Course. Make sure I am nicely buffed. And a stun, of course. I do not like these stuns. They're frustrating. And a stun. It's very, very naughty. Naughty wargs. Alright, I completed a deed as well. Now I have to heal myself because the wargs stun the crap out of me. There we go. Alright. Now, get my Call of Rome up. War. And just start pelting away at him here. As you can see, I have these other bleeds going up as well. These harsh echoes. To go along with my nasty little bleed there from Anthem. No, don't bring the warg. Stun the warg. He will stun me. And I don't like being stunned. Okay, there we go. Back to you again. Okay. You want to just get as many bleeds as you can on to add that extra DPS. They're not necessary, but it's nice. Stun the warg. And I gotta heal myself again. I thought I'd be able to kite him more effectively. Maybe I need to. Maybe it's because he's not being slow. Get some power going. All those buffs should be making those bleeds hit very hard when we come up. Some freaking warg. Don't like your wargs. Fortunately, Piercing Cries crit on every single one of these. I'd be in for some trouble. And again, kiting is super effective on just about every melee opponent. I'm taking much less damage, especially with this new armor bonus set they've given us to give us more run speed, especially when I pop Call the Second Age, so I'm now a good 30% faster than him. My DPS on the DPS tracker wouldn't be all that great due to all the stuns, which has been very frustrating. Probably should have tried to one-shot the wards right off the bat. It's okay. It wasn't the best opponent to be fighting to show off the bleed damage. There's a lot of stuns, and I had to stop to heal myself for now and then. But getting the Timeless Echoes of Battle up, along with a bunch of what is it called? Echoes, bleeds, or whatever, does end up adding a good chunk of DPS to on your opponent. It's about 2k, I believe, in 5 seconds, if you get enough of these bleeds up. So it's helpful, and I believe the having this up allows you to hit a little bit harder than you normally would due to the critical defense and resist rating debuff, which is quite helpful. However, I would suggest in PvP being cautious if you're going to be using this, as it does drain your power. It's very slow over time, but it is a power drain, and that would be added on to Spider's power drains. So if you're starting to run low on power, make sure to turn this off so you can work on getting your power back. And it's a really slow power drain, but it does over time start to take effect. So just be cautious about that. But again, all the skills are pretty much the exact same as in previous builds. The only difference is you're going to be using Timeless Echoes of Battle a lot more than the other builds I've suggested. And again, do not run crowd control with a Timeless Echoes build, or it's not going to be very useful unless you're using it on the target you're not attacking at all. So those would be my suggestions. I don't really feel like finishing this board pen. I get really nothing out of it anyways. There's nothing in that critical. I just I don't know. But thank you for watching. If you have any other suggestions or other build ideas, please let me know in the comments below. This is my Minstrel Red-Yellow Hybrid updated after the most recent update. Forget what update it was. It was like 18.2 or something crazy like that. Anyways, thank you, Songrider out.